America decides we're digging deep into the election results as votes pour in later tonight. For more insight on the political landscape of the day, we turn to Oakland University professor Dave Dulio. Dave, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Dave, so a lot of people, they suspect former President Trump, he might declare himself a winner if he's leading in the battleground states before those votes are all tallied. Why do you think we may not know the results tonight?
Well, I think it's just going to be tough to get everything counted. And when things are so close, we have to wait until literally every ballot is counted. In previous elections, you know, we've seen a candidate with such a wide margin that in the votes that have been counted at a certain point in the night, that those that are left over make it impossible to overtake that lead. But if it's as close as we think it's going to be, we're going to have to wait until every single ballot's counted.
So if he or Kamala Harris were to declare themselves a winner prematurely, is that confusing? Does it kind of interfere with the process?
Oh, I'm sure it would confuse voters. I mean, and folks at home that you know, see the information coming in from the press, whatever they're following, that maybe there's 70% of the vote counted, and somebody says that they're the winner. I think that we need to have some patience tonight, and even into tomorrow. Patience is a good thing.
And elaborate on that a little bit. How exactly do you see things playing out tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a long night. I have never seen an election where it has been so close, so late, in every one of the battleground states, right? These 7 states that are out there, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and yes, Michigan. Those are the 7 states that are going to decide this thing, and they are all within a point or two. So it's really about the candidate that can cobble together the block of states that gets them to those 270 electoral votes that they need. And we're not going to know what that path is until very late tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and people have until 8 tonight, right? Let's say somebody's undecided. Let's say somebody says they still don't know if they're going to vote.
Sure.
What do you think would be the thing to change that for them this late in the game?
That's a great question. I think if, as you know, we have been inundated and saturated with political messages, ads, mail, text messages for months. I would be surprised if there was somebody out there who hadn't made up their mind between the candidates and whether or not they were going to vote. Now, if somebody hasn't had time today, as long as you're in line by 8 p.m. at your polling location, you're allowed to vote. So if you haven't made up your mind, you've got a little less than 4 hours to do so.
A little time left. All right, so how significant is Michigan in this election? We know it's a battleground state, but what exactly does this mean?
Sure, we're in that mix of states that, as I said, is going to decide this thing. And whoever wins Michigan is going to get 15 electoral votes to add to their tally. And it's really about, which block of states can a candidate collect today in the results that helps them get to 270. Michigan is going to be part of that calculation for one of the candidates, and we might be the tipping point state that puts one of the two over the top.
Yeah, we saw both candidates really campaigning here in Michigan. Do you think that is something that is going to play a role in who wins tonight?
Well, I think candidates speak about their strategy with their resources and how they spend those resources. They spent a bunch of money here, and they also spent a lot of time. I think that speaks to 2 things. Number 1, how close it is, and number 2, how badly they want to have Michigan in their column.
Is there one block of voters in particular that you think really needed the push, really needed to see those candidates in front of them on a regular basis?
I think it's really hard to narrow it down when it's so close to one block of voters. I think there are any number of interesting dynamics that are at play and have been for a couple of weeks or months even, right? I think Arab American voters, it's going to be fascinating to see what the turnout numbers and results are in Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck. I think young voters, very interesting to see what their turnout levels are. Union voters in Macomb County, all African American voters in Detroit. I think that all of those are really constituencies, key groups of voters, where one small shift or a couple of small shifts within those groups toward one candidate, away from the other, or maybe choosing not to vote at all, can really have a big impact on the final outcome.
And Dave, with this being the night that decides it all, how can people manage the misinformation that is coming out even still?
Yeah, great question. And you hate to laugh about it, but it's one of those things that's sort of it's part of our process now.
Yeah.
It's part of regrettably, part of our elections, right? I think multiple sources, right? If somebody's reading something on Twitter or social media, try to find it somewhere else, right? I mean, multiple sources, consume information from multiple sources. That's always a great tip, because even though we've got, let's say, partisan news networks these days, if you listen to both or a multitude of sources, you'll be able to sort of piece together where things are.
Yeah, so much. It's a waiting game, definitely, tonight.
No doubt about it.
A lot of angst surrounding that. Well, thank you so much, Professor,
Thanks for having
being
me
here.